Wakey, wakey, hands off Snakey. Yeah, I know you didn't get that girl last night, so you're thinking about doing terrible, nasty things to your own body. You just stop.
Your body is a temple.
Hands at your sides. Ears open. Time to listen to your Saturday morning hangover cure, otherwise known as the weekend edition of Sports Frenzy 2.0.
Grab your cup of coffee and your bear claw, kids.
He's a conquistador, Dave Height.
He's the maestro, Kevin Crane.
Wow, have we got an episode for you this week. The only concert that we have on the slate for probably the first 5 months of 2023.
Yep.
So we savored it. We enjoyed it. We have stories. Alter Bridge, Mammoth WVH, and Red at the Old National Center, otherwise known as the Murat.
Downtown Indianapolis.
That is right. So, of course, you've got it. You figured it out. We're starting off, as always, with rock and roll. We've also got a review of the Carburetors, a band you might not know about. Some music from Black Star Riders and new stuff from LA Guns. But first, concert review. Do we want to tell them about our seats?
Let's start with the seats. We thought, all right, reasonably priced. Let's try the floor instead of the upper balcony where we usually are. The only problem with the floor at the Murat is it does not have much of an angle at all. It's pretty flat. So the view was not the best from being at the back.
And plus there's an overhang from the balcony. So you have a very small area, a very small view window, let's put it that way, of where you can actually see the stage. The upper part is cut off.
Yep. That wasn't the horrible part. It was flat compared to other venues. And then when you have a dumbass in front of you who can't decide where he wants to stand for more than a second at a time.
Yeah, so when we sat down, we got there in time. Now the merch, my problem was the merch lines were ridiculous. There was only one merch table.
Two lines.
For the entire venue, for the entire show. As Dave said, 2 lines. We passed on it the first time, sat down for Red. We figured, let's see if Red's any good.
2 songs in, we got up to go check out the merch table.
Yeah, hit the bathroom again. Merch line, we stood in them for about 10 minutes maybe.
And moved 5 feet.
Yeah, so we said, bail on this. Make sure we get back, because Red only played, it looked like, for about half an hour.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure we got back for Mammoth. So we get back to our seats for Mammoth. Again, dealing with, like Dave said, annoying. There were some cool people around us and some annoying people around us. Unfortunately, the people that were cool were behind us and to the side.
Yeah.
The idiots were in front of us. So
typical.
Yeah. So we got through Mammoth. No new music, which kind of disappointed me. Everything, 8-song set, everything was off the first album. Nothing even in terms of the bonus tracks.
Yeah, no, it was just a straight, their bigger songs off the first.
Yeah, almost you would say, granted, he's only been playing for a couple years, but almost the hits package.
Yeah. Come on, Wolfie. Get the new stuff out. Yep. We're ready.
Now, that being said, it's still solid, 45-minute show. And, of course, third time we've seen him in the last year and a half. Now, something we did not mention when we were in line for merch while Red was playing, we had this young woman come up to us.
Yep. Said, we're selling upgrade seats. We have room up in the balcony if you're interested. And we're like, no, we don't want to spend any more. We thought about it for like 2 seconds and like, no, we're good. So after Mammoth's set, she's walking around the back and comes up to us and goes, all right, if you want, we're offering free upgrades to the royalty seats, which is the front of the balcony. She's like, they're wider, there's more leg room. And we're like, free? Sure. Let's go. So she flips through and gets us a couple of tickets and
Great seats.
great freaking seats.
Yep. I think because of the fact we were at least polite to her the first time, I still think.
I think she got us. We were one of the first ones that she came up to.
But she flipped through and made sure she gave us
the best that she had in that stack.
I'm sorry, I am not trying to say that Sports Frenzy holds some kind of cachet.
No, but we're polite.
Yes,
and we treat people with respect.
Yes.
We said no thank you previously.
Yes. Unlike that bitch on her bicycle outside.
Oh, God.
When we were trying to find dinner.
Yeah, we're walking in the pedestrian lane. And she goes, you're in the bike lane. No, it's a pedestrian lane, twit.
Yeah, so for future reference, all you people in podcast land, Sports Frenzy hates bikers! Not
bicyclists.
Bicyclists, not motorcyclists, bicyclists. But we got up to the royalty seats. Phenomenal seats. Made the last part of the concert much more enjoyable. Being able to see Alter Bridge in their glory without having to worry about standing up, sitting down. We just were able to sit.
Nobody in front of us. We got to enjoy it. It was great.
Yes. Now, Alter Bridge played about an hour and 40 minutes.
Yep.
16-song set. 3 songs off the new album, Pawns and Kings, which we have reviewed here recently.
Yep.
On the weekend edition.
Very good. Very enjoyable.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. Now, you got Holiday, which is your song of the year. You love that song.
I loved Holiday.
And you said you've got more respect now for the title track.
Yep. Pawns and Kings has grown on me the more I've heard it.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to go out there on a limb. When it comes to all-time great concert songs, my number 1 is Freebird. My number 2 is Riding the Storm Out. I'm telling you, Blackbird by Alter Bridge, probably my number 3. I've only seen it twice, but that song, that was like really, 7 minutes to me of orgasmic really metal good. Joy.
That was really damn good.
I love Blackbird so much. Love Blackbird. And they've got their 7 or 8 songs that they play consistently. Of course, at the end, they played their, I guess you call them their 2 big hits.
Yeah.
Rise Today and Open Your Eyes. Metalingus, of course, they played. Dave was upset with me because I kept telling him during the show, that's a theme song for a wrestler.
Because that's a preview right there, kids.
Yeah, because they played The Other Side, and then they played Metalingus, of course. Those 2 are both theme songs for The Judgment Day and Edge, respectively.
There you go.
Now, you said something interesting. At the end, you said you wanted to listen to more older Alter Bridge because probably you weren't familiar with
not as stuff. Familiar.
Yeah, see, now I know the entire catalog, so I knew all the songs, but I thought that was a very wise, astute comment on your part.
I know. That's why I said it, because I'm wise and astute.
Now, the one curveball they threw in there, as opposed to when we saw them opening a few years back for Skillet.
Yeah.
They played Burn It Down, but I noticed now when we saw them open for Skillet, Miles Kennedy admitted he was not feeling well. He was under the weather.
He was, you could tell.
For this time around, they still gave him a break because halfway through the set, they played Burn It Down. Now, normally he sings that song, but in this case, Mark Tremonti took over and sang lead on Burn It Down. Awesome song, by the way. Awesome song.
Very good.
But
it's a little nod to Tremonti. He's got his own
And of course, they played,
project band.
as we were walking out, they of course played his cover of his Frank Sinatra song.
Yep.
Because if you don't know, Mark Tremonti, the guitarist for Alter Bridge, obviously has his own side band called Tremonti, but he put out recently, I believe last year, a cover album of him singing Frank Sinatra songs,
Yeah.
completely and totally benefiting charity.
Yeah.
So very, very cool stuff. It for a rating on this, it depends on what we're rating. Are we going to rate the whole show? Are we going to split it up? Because again, we're biased because of the seat upgrade for Alter Bridge.
Right.
We didn't listen to all of Red's set. I will say this.
We could do an overall and then a breakdown.
All right, so overall, I will give it I'll give it a B. Well, for Frenzies, I'll give it a 3. 3 Frenzies.
Yes, for an overall experience.
Sorry. I don't know why I was trying to.
I know. I'm like, a B. What the
Yeah. I don't know. Now, Red, of course, gets an incomplete because we didn't listen to the whole thing.
Right.
They
we
weren't all that impressive.
No.
Mammoth gets a 3 out of 4. Good, solid,
dependable.
I would give Alter Bridge a 4.
Alter Bridge was phenomenal.
I thought that's one of the best shows I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, they did a really nice job.
But again, the overall show would be a 3 Frenzy, Alter Bridge a 4, Mammoth a 3, Red,
incomplete.
Whatever. Yeah. And again, we talked about the fact that the venue, now we know we do not buy those seats again.
We do not sit on the floor there. We
as
want to be
tempting as it might be.
No.
We will
go balcony.
Chicago. We saw Mark Knopfler up in the balcony at the Murat.
Much happier up in the balcony.
For paying less.
Yes.
Much happier up there.
Yeah.
So.
And if it's reasonable for the royalty seats,
something to look into.
Something to look into, because if it's the same price, if it's slightly more, like $5 more for those than the floor towards the back.
Oh, definitely.
It's definitely worth it.
Yeah. I just have a feeling that
those are probably more. Yeah, a lot more.
This was a once in a lifetime deal.
Yeah. We're not going to get upgraded like that again.
Yeah. But again, do you agree with my ratings? How do you feel about the ratings? What would you do overall?
Overall, a 3 sounds about right.
Okay.
So.
What about Mammoth?
Mammoth is probably a weak 3. Okay. Just because we didn't get anything new. It's third time in a year and a half. And it's like, all right, come on. You got to have something new in the tank.
Right. Right. And when we saw them as co-headliners with Dirty Honey, they threw in Them Bones, and, threw in a couple different songs.
Yeah, they did something a little different. Yeah.
Now, what about Alter Bridge?
Alter Bridge, not being as familiar, I go a strong 3.5.
All right. So overall,
I think we're pretty close. 3 for an overall show.
All right. Sorry, we had to, again, have to spend as much time on the one show as possible since we don't have anything else coming up till, I believe, June of 2023. So hopefully something will pop before then.
I think I've got Shinedown.
Oh, is that April? Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I've got one before that.
All right, kids. New music this week. We decided, again, because still waiting for new stuff to come out. Digging back, digging deep, trying to find some stuff for you. We go with Spotify recommendations based on the stuff we listen to. So, Our album of the week is from a Norwegian band that's been around for over 20 years.
I know. I couldn't believe that when I looked into them a little bit more.
Yeah, they are from Oslo, Norway. Starting back in 2001, their new album came out January the 13th of 2023. The title is awesome. One of the greatest album titles of all time.
Drinking from the skulls of our enemies. And
Now,
the little 44-second intro ending with that was awesome.
yeah, the Carburetors have been described as old school 50s rock and roll meets heavy metal.
Yeah. And was it just me, or the lead singer sounds like Lemmy?
Well, let's get into our review and then we shall discuss.
Yes, we shall.
You started off talking about the minute or so intro.
Yep.
The title track, which to me, of course, harkens back to In the Beginning from Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue. That's easily the easy comparison to make.
Yes, way too easy there.
We will be drinking from the scars of our enemies. And that leads into Hurricane, which obviously we know Rock You Like a Hurricane, but this guitar riff sounded a lot like the Scorpions.
Yeah, it did have that Scorpion vibe to it. Solid song.
Yeah, I liked it. I did like it a lot. But again, we're starting off with obvious influences from 80s rock and roll with the Crew and then with the Scorpions. And then we get into the first single and obviously the best song on the album, Rock Until We Die.
By far the best song there.
The guitar riff is absolutely killer.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. Now, after that, I think the album settled more into
they got into their little
I don't
groove.
want to say generic groove, but there wasn't a lot of difference.
Yeah. I did like Remember Me. I thought that one was pretty solid.
Remember My Name?
Or Remember My Name, yeah.
It's okay. It was okay. The rest of the album, there's 12 tracks total. The rest of the album, again, to me, sounded almost the same. Yeah. The ones that maybe stood out a little bit for me were 12 O'Clock High and Living on the Road.
Yes. Yeah, those two were really good. The others were Ho Hum, the worst one, Endless Nights.
Here's the funny thing about Endless Nights. After about a minute of listening to it, you want to know who came to mind? Tenacious D. I almost thought it was a parody song.
Oh my God.
It sounded to me like I was waiting for Jack Black and Kyle Gass to jump in on it because it sounded so over the top.
Yeah, it was just
over the top 80s cheesiness.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Tenacious D to kick in.
Yeah, you had expected the joke to come through.
Now you get towards the end, right on through the nighttime, has a very weird, cheesy.
That was the other one that
keyboard intro to it.
Yeah, those were the two weak ones.
And then at the very end, the last song, "The Way You Rock and Roll." I don't know who the female was, but there's a male-female back and forth duet with piano.
That had your full 50s rock.
That's where I started to hear, along with maybe "Shake It."
Yeah, "Shake It" was another
where
one.
You heard
that 50s influence.
Yeah, this Chuck Berry thing that I was like, initially came out of left field when I was reading about him. I was like, now when I hear those couple songs,
to get it.
Now they remind me a lot of a band that I listen to that I don't think you've really gotten into, called Airborne. Now, Airborne is an obvious knockoff of AC/DC. If you'd listen to Airborne and then listen to the Carburetors, it's that similar, almost bar band, hard rock feel to it. I liked this album, but not enough to really recommend it to anybody else, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people would appreciate what they bring. It's okay, it's something for background.
Yeah, especially after it dropped off once they got through Rock Until We Die. Um, I will give it a strong 2 frenzies.
Yep. 2 is right where that belongs.
Okay. 2 new songs to review. Let's start off with the more notable, the bigger band.
LA Guns' new single, You Betray.
Of course, we saw them last year.
Yep. This was a little different for them.
Yeah,
A
I
little
thought so
bit
too.
different sound. This kind of harkened back to it reminded me of Led Zeppelin.
I don't know if I could categorize it as Led Zeppelin, but
it just kind of had that Zeppelin rock feel to it.
Now, you and I reviewed Checkered Past, their last album, which had a more traditional 80s feel good, party vibe to it. Yeah, this is definitely, You Betray's definitely got a darker edge to it. I'm torn on this one because musically I liked it, but lyrically
it kind of lacked.
And I wasn't a big fan of the chorus at the end, especially, you betray, you betray.
Yeah, that kind of
very weak.
Yeah, I love the musical part of it.
Yeah, it is very, very the drums, interesting, the guitar, and cool musically.
Yeah, lyrically, it left you wanting.
I'm gonna go about the same as I did with the Carburetors. I'll go a strong 2.
Yep,
2 frenzies. Which brings us to our final new song to review.
Yep, Black Star Riders, Crazy Horses. The one I wanted you to kind of tell me, who do you think could have done it?
Yep, now their new album, Wrong Side of Paradise, came out January the 20th. We're already talking about putting that on the slate for mid to late March.
Yes, we will give a full review on that down the line.
Now, if you kids don't know who Black Star Riders are, this is an offshoot of what was left of Thin Lizzy. Of course, their leader, Phil Lynott, died a long time ago, years and years, decades ago. But they kept going and kept pushing through, and they were bringing newer blood in. And then as the older guys from Thin Lizzy dropped out and retired, the new guys kept going. But they changed the name to Black Star Riders. Now, for me personally, one of the cool of the 4 members that are in Black Star Riders right now, their bass player is Robbie Crane, not just because last name, but Robbie Crane played bass for Rat for a long time. So,
so we got some good tie-in there.
Yep. So Crazy Horses is I'm going to say the best of what we've got this week. Is it going to knock your socks off, blow your mind? No,
but it's an earworm.
It's better than You Betray, probably better than most of what's on the Carburetors. It rocks. It does rock. It's got a very interesting sonic twist to it. I can't emulate it. I guess it's supposed to be a kind of an electronic guitar, horses neighing kind of thing. That's the catch, the hook in the song. Yeah. But overall, pretty cool song. I kind of liked it. Again, that's kind of why I want to maybe give the whole album.
Yeah, it's a solid 2.5.
That's where I was going to go as well. Yeah, 2.5 frenzies. And again, it's good enough. And I've listened to little bits and pieces of the album where I think once we get through Steel Panther, Godsmack,
then
we'll revisit Black Star Riders. But yeah, we just spoiled it for you. Next week, our review of the new Steel Panther album, On the Prowl. Of course, the third single is out, Friends with Benefits. I've listened to it, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Steel Panther might have gone even too far for them with some of the lyrics on this. Wow. Yeah, Godsmack probably the week after that, because I have not heard, even though the album comes out Friday, of course, will be out by the time this gets to you as you nurse your hangover. They have not released a third single yet.
No, which is very unusual.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, is it going to get delayed at the last minute?
It's too late now. They've got to put it out this Friday. Last week, I would have said maybe. But yeah, it's only Surrender and You and I.
Yeah.
Still only 2 singles out so far. So we will have Steel Panther for you next week. And I have got 2 songs for the Conquistador and for all of you for next week. Now he's gonna see the guest singers on these 2 songs once he pulls them up on Spotify. But for now, there's an air of mystery.
I will wait.
Band called Fire from the Gods has got a song out called 1,000 Lifetimes with a very, very cool guest lead singer. You will not be disappointed in this.
All right.
Now, the other one, because it's a band that you know more.
Yep, the Mongolian throat singer band, the HU. HU.
The song is This Is Mongol, subtitled Warrior Souls, but again, a very, very cool guest vocalist.
Yep. So I've enjoyed several songs that I've heard from the HU. So I'm looking forward to this one.
So we will have Steel Panther and those 2 songs for you next week on the Weekend Edition here in segment 1, where we always lead off with rock and roll. But coming up next, movies and books. I will get to describe to you what I consider to be the official, complete, and total end of the Marvel movie universe in terms of quality, in terms of anything and everything good has now been completely officially destroyed.
And flushed down the toilet.
With Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And then, of course, Dave and I have a mutual book review. The great Robert Crace, the latest Elvis Cole and Joe Pike.
Yep. I have a movie review, Shotgun Wedding, the Josh Duhamel, Jennifer Lopez comedy, action comedy, and book review of Stephen Hunter's The Bullet Garden.
So there you go, kids. Again, jam-packed weekend edition. Hang out through a quick promo, and we will be right back. Now that we've let you into Frenzy Club, here are 3 rules. 1, you don't talk about Sports Frenzy 2.0. You listen to it on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Apple, and all other major podcast hosts. 2 guys to a show. Kev Dave, the Maestro and the Conquistador. 3, 1 Sports Frenzy episode at a time. Until Saturday, when you get the weekend edition. Now get in there and let loose on some PC wuss bags, will ya?
All right, kids, welcome back to the weekend edition of Sports Frenzy 2.0 here, airing February 25th, 2023. I'm the Conquistador, Dave Height.
I'm the maestro, Kevin Crane.
So we're going to talk movies here on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Amazon, Audible, Apple, Overcast, CastBox, and Stitcher! All right, I will take the lead on this one. The other night, my wife and I decided to give Shotgun Wedding a chance. Little action comedy with Jennifer Lopez and Josh Duhamel as a couple getting married in the Philippines on a small island resort. Cheech Marin plays her father. Jennifer Coolidge plays his mom. Yeah.
Sorry, I had to do the eye roll when I heard Jennifer Coolidge. Oh,
I know, she's brutal. But he's trying to make the perfect wedding, driving Lopez nuts. And lo and behold, pirates come to terrorize and try and rob the wedding, which was crashed by her former fiance, played by Lenny Kravitz, who is best friends with her father, who hates Josh Duhamel's character. Chaos ensues as the two of them were off having a little spat when the pirates come. They wind up getting caught, zip-tied together, and then on the run, trying to save the day. In all the goofy ways they could possibly stumble through. Like I said, it's mildly entertaining. I will not spoil for you who the pirates actually are and what the whole gist was. But if you got nothing better to do, you could find worse things out there. I'll give it a 2.5 for its comedy entertainment value.
I could see that. I mean, I'm not the cynical bastard that you all think I am. You know, I do like some lighter fare every once in a while.
Yeah, and this it's nothing spectacular, but it's a fun little romp. You can kind of see where some things are going to go, what you would expect, but it's still decent.
Had to be better than Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Ouch. Yeah, it only comes in at an hour and 40 minutes, so it's a piece of cake.
Yeah, considering Wakanda Forever comes in at almost 3 hours long. Now, Dave and I have been talking ever since Disney officially took over the Marvel movies, which dates back to Black Widow, I believe is the first one, where that was one where that was developed, written, everything was done. It was produced under the Disney umbrella. Ever since Black Widow, the movies that have been put out under the Marvel umbrella have been mediocre at best. Now, I'm not talking about the Sony Marvel movies, because then
Sony is not Disney.
Yeah. The Spider-Man, of course, No Way Home, phenomenal.
Absolutely,
but again,
incredible.
Disney did not have much to do with that.
Right.
We're talking about Eternals. We're talking about Multiverse of Madness, which is probably the best of the lot so far. And of course, now Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Now, I understand the difficulty involved here, because you're trying to overcome the death of the star of the first Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, as the title character. And I read some reviews after I'd watched it online just to see if I could get a little bit more insight, both confirming my views and maybe giving me more insight into maybe looking at it a little more positive light. And the one thing that I read that I would agree with is that they should have waited. They should have waited longer. And I thought they did wait a decent amount of time to put out Wakanda Forever, but I think they could have waited longer because this movie comes off flat. There is nobody in this movie that stands out in terms of a character that jumps off the screen and excites you, that you're rooting for.
Wow.
And again, that's where Chadwick Boseman is sorely missed. And I think something that the media is overlooking here with this is they want to, of course, praise it because it's so diverse. It's not diverse, to be honest with you. There's like one white person in it. So it's not diverse. But anyway, the first Black Panther made $700 million at the domestic North American box office. This one made just over 450 million. It is a sizable drop off from the first one to the second one. And of course, people are going to say, oh my God, still 450 million. Massive success.
But not when compared to the first one.
And I think we're looking at the final and total erosion of the Marvel brand under Disney's watch. Because now I'm hearing bad reviews for Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania. We'll get a bump up in quality when Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 comes out because that was the last James Gunn movie. He oversaw that. He put that together the way he wanted to. So that will be a big creative bump for Marvel. And they'll crow about it and
we can still do it, but it's not what you're getting now.
But again, you're already seeing cracks. After Guardians of the Galaxy 3 comes out, I believe in May, they were supposed to release the Marvels, basically Captain Marvel Part 2.
Right.
In late summer. They have pushed that all the way back to November now.
Oof.
So there is going to be a long gap between Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and the Marvels. And of course, the Marvels is more PC garbage, where it's not enough that we had Brie Larson. Now we've got to bring in not one, not two, but three women playing different variations of Captain Marvel. You are going to alienate your core audience at some point, because if you haven't figured it out by now, your core audience is adolescent white men or older adolescent white men like me. So when you're going down this path, you've got to at least make the movies good. You fail with Eternals, and now you have failed with Black Panther Wakanda Forever. 3 hours of... Now, I will say this. It's a gorgeous movie. It is a beautiful movie to watch in terms of colors and all the sets and the special effects. Beautiful movie just for the eyes. But beyond that, you bring in, of course, the big draw isn't even anything to do with the Black Panther mythology. It's you bring in Namor the Submariner, finally comes into the Marvel Universe. And you've turned him into an Aztec demigod who basically ate or drank a plant with vibranium in it that turned him into a guy who could live in the water and outside the water. And half the movie is in subtitles, which drove me nuts because, of course, nobody can speak English in the movie. Everybody's got to speak their quote-unquote native tongues. And it's a frustrating, boring, dull movie. And again, there is not one standout character. Angela Bassett is getting all this praise. She's the first actor or actress ever nominated for an Academy Award in a Marvel movie for this role. She has as the Queen in Wakanda Forever. And for the first half hour, 40 minutes, she's really good as they deal with the death of Chadwick Boseman. But then she even goes way over the top and starts overacting. I mean, like Meryl Streep on her worst day, overacting.
Oof.
The chick they bring in is Ironheart, who's getting her own series now on Disney Plus, I've heard, which again is an insult because she's supposedly, quote unquote, the new Iron Man. She's offensively racist and thuggish and just immature and stupid beyond all belief. And again, I wasn't necessarily enamored with what they did with Namor. He comes off as okay, but still not quite as cool as I would hoped he would have been.
Well, there you go.
I will give Black Panther Wakanda Forever a weak to Frenzies. But as I alluded to, I think this is the death knell. This is the proof that we were unfortunately expecting that Disney is going to destroy Marvel.
There we go. All right. Shifting on, shall we talk about Robert Craze?
Yep, I think it's time for
Book.
some books to get away from the mediocre mind rot of Hollywood to some literary.
Yes, let's stimulate the
Discussions.
mind.
Now, there are about half a dozen series that Dave and I both read. Of course, again, Dave reads an entire book while he's sitting on the toilet, whereas it takes me 5 or 6 weeks, a normal person's rate, to actually get through a book. So he's been done with this book for a while. I've gotten done with it here recently. Again, one of the series that he and I both read together. This is the Elvis Cole and Joe Pike series from former script writer Robert Craze. We're how many books in? Almost 20. We've got to be almost 20 in, don't we, to this series?
Are there that many of them?
I think we're close.
Could be.
But
if you have it handy, we could look in the front.
Yeah, I was going to look. I've got my hardcovers down here, but my paperbacks are upstairs, so I would not be able to give you a fair count. But we know, Dave and I know, that the initial books like The Monkey's Raincoat, Indigo Slam, Elvis, Cole, Hollywood Detective, there were a lot more levity and a lot more humor in the early books.
Yes.
And then they hit LA Requiem. And that book kind of took a darker turn for Elvis Cole, bringing, of course, his partner Joe Pike more into the forefront. Joe Pike, a man of few words, red arrows tattooed on his biceps.
Yep. Both of them former military.
Yes,
so this was the 19th. So you were right there.
So we get more after LA Requiem of Joe Pike coming in. The thing about the new book, Racing the Light, is that I think it harkens back to the earlier books.
Yeah, you're starting to, even the previous one, Elvis is starting to get his sense of humor back. He's starting to live again after the hell that he was put through in LA Requiem.
Yeah, and his personal life is coming back together. Of course, there is still serious issues he's dealing with. People die. Something I was thinking about as I finished up Racing the Light was that the best Elvis Cole books, especially the early ones, but overall, going back through most of the 19, the thing that I find appealing about these books that kind of sets them apart, maybe the Spencer books have a little bit of this at times, the Robert B. Parker, awesome series, is that the best Elvis Cole books are, he's on the side of innocence, naivete. He's always seeming to help somebody who's gotten in a bad situation, not necessarily because of their own doing, somebody who's stuck because of their circumstances, or just they're young, they don't know what's going on, what they're doing, they think they can change the world, they're just minding their own business. And then on the other side is pure unadulterated greed and evil, and Elvis always steps in the middle to try to do his best to buffer the two sides, and then brings Joe Pike in on occasion, the great John Stone, who makes an appearance here in Racing the Light. And this book is the best of Elvis Cole, in my opinion. These books are not deep. Again,
no,
Robert
not.
Craze is a screenwriter by nature, so he's keeping the dialogue to the bare minimum. It's not James Lee Burke. It's not getting that deep.
No, it's like Robert B. Parker. You get a good description and storytelling with minimal dialogue.
What needs to be said gets said, and not much beyond that. Not a lot of flowery descriptions, and
no, it's straight ahead.
So I was very happy with Racing the Light, the latest Elvis Cole novel. I will give it a 3.5 frenzies.
I was hoping you were going to go there, because I know the love interest, you had issues with her, the way he was written, or she was written, destroying Elvis and bringing him down. And now as he's coming up, reintroducing her back into his life, I wasn't sure how you were going to take that.
That's cool. I mean, that's very cool that you thought about that. Yeah. I think I can tolerate her now a little bit more than I can Alex Delaware's Robin, who drives me insane. She is so pretentious, but yeah, I think she's she's been written better of late. Yeah, if I want to take the love interest from all my favorite book detectives, she's probably my least favorite now is Robin in the Alex Delaware novels.
Yeah. Susan Silverman, of course.
Yeah, I mean, Susan's been around for so long. She's, I can respect her. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I was going back and forth with Lucy in the Elvis Cole.
What's she playing at here? But
yeah, no, I kind of like the way they did it. They didn't make it easy in this, the reconciliation, even though it's not fully formed yet.
Not yet, but
we're
getting
getting close
there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and she doesn't make it easy. No, Elvis tries to do his best. It's like you said, comparisons with Spencer are very good because they came to an agreement.
Right.
They had their issues. They came to an agreement. Spencer says, this is what I do. You're going to have to live with it. And for a while, Susan didn't like it. Same kind of thing here with Elvis Cole and Lucy Chanel.
Yeah.
Is that
Lucy didn't like it.
Yeah.
Got scared.
Because he got shot once, got very badly injured, scared her to death. I don't know if I can live like this.
Blah, blah.
This is who I am. And that's the best writing in this genre is that
which is what made
the hero is never going to say, well, I'm going to quit for you.
Yeah.
No, you have to take me for who I am, because otherwise, if you won't love me.
Yeah.
If I don't do this, I'm not the same person.
Yeah, and that whole thing is what made Requiem his best.
So yeah, very, very, very nice bounce back for Elvis and Joe Pike. Joe's not in it that much.
No, very little. Kind of
Yeah.
hearkening back to some of the older ones.
Exactly. Again,
where he just makes an appearance to help out when needed. And then Stone is just
yeah,
he is a riot.
Yep. Very, very cool. Again, hearkening to Spencer. Hawk is
Pike,
and then like a Teddy Sap or a Cholo would be in the Spencer universe is the equivalent of John Stone.
Yeah.
So now you have got a solo review.
I do.
Because of course one of those books you read while you were, filing
Waiting
your
for
nails.
You. Nope. Stephen Hunter, one of my favorites. He's written all the Bob Lee Swagger, the Ice Sniper series was made of it. Number of books on this. He's written about his great-grandfather or his grandfather, and now this is another one of Bob Lee's father, Earl Swagger. Fresh out of a previous story where he's in the Marines in the Philippines. This finds him back in the States training new Marine snipers, where he gets word that the OSS needs the Marines' best guy to take care of a German sniper issue that they're having just after D-Day over in France. So Earl is conscripted by the Army, made a major, and sent to the OSS to help figure out what's going on to start moving the American lines through and stopping the sniper thing and battling both sides, because you've got the elements within the OSS. Who's the spy? Who's the egomaniac trying to undermine everything and take credit for things that he has no business doing? And then the stuff taking place out in the field, the cat and mouse games that get played. This is Hunter at his best writing. This is one of the really good stories that he's got out there. It kept moving. I can't say enough for this one. I'm giving this one a 4.
A 4?
I'm giving it a 4.
A rare 4 frenzies.
There's going to be little issues here and there, but it just the overall writing and storytelling and pulling everything together, the way he makes it work. It's a quick read. It's thicker, but it's quick.
Wow. I can't remember the last time.
I really, really liked this one.
I can't remember the last time on Sports Frenzy we had 2 4 Frenzy reviews. You for this book, and then me for the Alter Bridge show.
Yeah. So
very cool.
I was debating where do I go with it, and it just the more I think,
if you loved it, you loved it.
The descriptions of the French countryside with the hedgerows crisscrossing, and yeah, it all worked well together. The subterfuge that Earl has to play.
Now, of course, Dave was talking about the whole universe that's involved here. And of course, we're talking about the father, but those of you out there would probably know Bob Lee, the son, from the movie with Mark Wahlberg, and then the TV series
that was on USA
with Ryan Philippe.
Yep.
So, just to give you a little context. But what 4 frenzies, kids. You got to check out the Bullet Garden.
He's told some good stories, but this one, for the sniper genre, it's right there at the top.
All right. Now, of course, Dave, as I've always mentioned, week in and week out here, reads 5 books every 10 minutes. So let's see if he knows this book series that is going to be made into a TV series by the very powerful Mandalay TV Productions Group. Now, 2019 is when the series started, so this is kind of a new generation type thing. This isn't the traditional one-a-year publishing cycle that Dave and I are used to with our favorite authors. So this is more of the digital age, I think, even though these books are in print. Mike Grist. Have you ever heard of Mike Grist?
I've heard of them. I have not read them.
The Christopher Wren series. Again, starting in 2019, but this guy's been putting out about 3 books a year in this series.
Yeah,
but Mandalay,
I've heard of it. I just haven't gotten there.
Mandalay felt strongly enough about the book series that they have gone ahead and decided to push it forward as a TV series. I believe there's 9 books out already.
Interesting.
And the 10th comes out at the end of the year.
May have to check 1 or 2 of them out, see if they're any good.
Well, you can do that while you're eating a sandwich.
I could.
All right, and finally, not moments of silence yet, but we do have some health news when it comes to movies. A couple of our, I would say, favorite movie stars undergoing some serious health issues. Of course, we've talked about Bruce Willis.
Yep.
And unfortunately now things have gotten worse for him, where he has officially been diagnosed with dementia. And of course, we hope for the best and it's great to see Demi Moore, the ex-wife coming in with the current wife, and they're all doing their best to support him.
Yeah.
I wish every family was like that, where you could just get over the fact that
things didn't work out.
Right.
Deal with it and move on.
And then, of course, this guy has had his issues. He's had temper tantrums. He's had public issues of violence. He's used drugs, but still one of the best, especially when it came to his portrayals in Quentin Tarantino's movies. Tom Sizemore suffered a brain aneurysm here recently, in critical condition. He is hanging on. He is still with us. I hope if there's some way, somehow he can recover. He does. I believe he's 61 years old.
Yeah.
Tom Sizemore was one of those great characters. I don't know if I want to call him a character actor, but
no, but he portrayed his characters very well.
Saving Private Ryan also, I believe.
I believe so.
I believe he was in that as well.
Yeah.
But
was it Relic as well?
Oh yeah, he was in Relic. Yep, he was in Relic. He was the cop.
Yep.
I can't remember his name.
Vinny.
Yep.
Vinny D'Agusta.
D'Agusta, that was it. Yes. Yeah, that was so long ago for me when I read the book and then saw the movie. And of course, that leads into the Pendergast series.
Yep, and Vinny's still a big part of those.
Yep, because it was him and Penelope Ann Miller. I can't remember who played Pendergast.
Yeah, that Pendergast was a minor character in the Relic.
Right.
And then in Reliquary, picked up the bigger role and became their go-to character.
Yep. So, of course, we hope Bruce Willis and Tom Sizemore both get better.
Pray for the best for both, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
We don't want long suffering, though.
No. So we'll be right back for TV and streaming real quick, and then moments of silence for those who have officially passed. And yes,
there are dumbasses.
Dave will play dumbass or not, kids. We'll be right back. Hello, this is Will Smith. You might know me as the original Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You might also know me from Bad Boys 1, Bad Boys 2, and Bad Boys for Life. And now you must also know me as an Academy Award-winning actor for King Richard. Also by now, you know there are two things I do not like people talking about in my presence. Namely, my open marriage and my wife's lack of hair. Well, now there is a third thing you do not talk about in front of Will Smith. You do not talk about Sports Frenzy 2.0. My boys, Kev and Dave, will hit slap the sports world in Hollywood each and every week on Sports Frenzy 2.0 and the Weekend Edition on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, and Stitcher. Just remember, keep Sports Frenzy's name out your damn mouth. All right, kids, welcome back. Third and final segment here on the Weekend Edition Sports Frenzy 2.0. Hopefully you have chugged your Pedialyte, you've taken your aspirin, you're feeling better.
It's about damn time, you lightweight.
You give us another half an hour, we'll get you all the way through, and then you can go out and do it again on Saturday nights. But we're not going to be here for you on Sunday. You can listen to the same damn podcast over again, though. We wouldn't mind. Go ahead and do that. He's a conquistador, Dave Height.
He's the maestro, Kevin Crane.
Taping here on the 22nd of February. This will hit on the 25th, 2023. A little bit of TV and streaming news, then moments of silence, and, of course, America's favorite game show, Dumbass or Not.
We had a rough go in the sports segment. Let's see if we agree on everything in this one.
All right, now Dave's a little bit behind me on the two shows that we have been watching mutually.
Yep, I'm struggling to decide if I want to continue with The Last of Us.
I will say this. I am caught up. I did watch this past Sunday's episode 6. That was probably the best of the season. Now, the thing that boggles my mind, and we mentioned earlier about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and I did go on IMDb to look at some of the reviews for that. Again, confirmation bias, trying to find people who agree with you. But
or
again,
seeing,
also,
or am I just missing the boat?
Right. Or looking to see, did somebody find something in the movie that I missed? I did not look at reviews for The Last of Us, but I saw that they are extremely high. Extremely high. And I am just a little bit puzzled by that, as you and I are both going back and forth in terms of whether we want to continue watching the show, because in many, many ways, it is a blatant ripoff of The Walking Dead, and there's not that much that separates it from The Walking Dead.
Very little.
But again, I will say I was intrigued by the last episode 6, a little bit more than I have been with any of the previous episodes.
Okay.
So I will probably stick with it for another week or two to see if they continue this momentum they've got going on. I will be interested to see, given the ending of episode 6, where they go from here. Let's just put it that way.
So I may have to try and catch up here.
But I still think all the criticisms we've had of it
still warrant
the female Negan, or the
PC
stuff,
or whoever.
Yeah, right.
Same thing.
Yeah.
The governor, Negan, same character.
Yeah. Now, of course, Poker Face, loving Poker Face. Kids, if you are not watching Poker Face, shame on you.
You should be.
Again, Dave's a little bit behind where I am. I am through episode 7. Dave is through episode 5. Dave will love episode 7 since it involves late model racing. But
Good
there
times.
has been no letdown in terms of quality on the show through 7 episodes. And of course, the good news is it has been renewed for season 2. So we will get
That's a good thing.
Poker Face back at some point once we're done with the writer's strike and all that crap.
BS that's coming down the line.
Of course, last Saturday night was Elimination Chamber.
I was waiting for it. I told you in the first segment that there was a preview for you.
Yes. The last premium live event before WrestleMania. Nothing overly shocking happened, per se. So now we know Asuka is going to be fighting Bianca Belair. Okay. La-di frickin' da. We knew Roman Reigns was going to beat Sami Zayn because they have to set up the WrestleMania match with Cody Rhodes. We knew that was coming. I guess the only part of this that was mildly interesting was, again, they've inserted Logan Paul into this, the social media icon.
Whatever.
He interfered in the United States Elimination Chamber match and foiled Seth Rollins' attempt to win the title away from Austin Theory. So now they've set that thing up. So now we're probably looking at Logan Paul and Seth Rollins fighting at WrestleMania. So it wasn't the best. Wasn't the worst, wasn't the best. That's about all I've got. That's all I've got for that one.
All right. There you go.
Of course, Dave knows this. Great news for those fans of you out there of On Patrol Live.
Already renewed for another season.
Yes, Reels has renewed On Patrol Live through January of 2024. That means 90 more episodes. Screw cancel culture. This is a perfect example of how you can beat it. We can beat cancel culture. We can beat all the snowflakes out there.
Hundreds of thousands of people continually badgering Dan Abrams, bring Live PD back. Well, Live PD was A&E. A&E said, oh, we can't do this anymore. So Abrams worked and worked and worked, got Reels to pick it up, changed it to On Patrol. Everything's the same. It's beautiful. They've got the online community going. Good stuff. And they're helping find missing children. When they put the missing segment up, people are looking, and just since it's come back on, they've had 5 kids that have been found. They've given information that led to capturing like 7 or 8 wanted fugitives. So by getting the information out there, those watching are paying attention, seeing it on the social media feeds, and helping law enforcement. Yeah, it's a good thing, people.
And I think it was completely wrong when they got rid of cops. YouTube TV, if you're going to take away MLB Network, give me Reels so I can watch this. Give me access so I can watch some concerts, some music stuff. You guys took away sports, you owe me. So give me this so I can watch this.
You have a smart TV? Because you can get, I think, the app for it. Jamie's watching it. He's got YouTube TV.
You don't have to pay for it?
Don't think so. No, maybe you do. I don't remember.
I think it's
it could
a
be.
subscription.
He might have access to it through somebody he works with.
And of course, we talk about what channels are available, where they're available on the streaming platforms. Of course, we're waiting for the hammer to fall with HBO Max and them bringing Discovery Plus in, and how much that's going to cost, how much they're going to jack the prices up on that. Well, Paramount Plus is already jacking their prices up. For the base service, it will go up $1 to $6 a month. If you want it with Showtime, which is now going to be basically melded in, just like we're talking about with HBO Max and Discovery, you're not going to be able to get Showtime alone anymore. You're going to have to buy it as part of Paramount Plus. $12 if you want both.
Getting ridiculous.
And I'm telling you, unless you really, really appreciate Showtime After Hours, which I did right before I canceled my subscription. Boy, there was one movie on there called Kiss Me. Woo! Boy, howdy. That was some good stuff.
All right, Longmire.
Go to finish it the next day, and it's, nope, your subscription has expired. You canceled it. God damn it. God
Sign me
damn
back
it.
up.
No, I'm not that pathetic. I'm pathetic, but I'm not that pathetic. No, I quit because there's just nothing right now. Once they start up with Tulsa King Season 2, which is probably a year away, Beavis and Butthead Season 2, again, probably a year away, I'll get back on it. But then Showtime, again, outside of the after hours goodness, no, nothing on there. All right, moments of silence. Of course, first and foremost, one of the biggest bombshells, one of the most beautiful women to come out of the 60s and 70s movie scene. The great, the glorious, the hot as all hell, Raquel Welch passed away. And recently, we also lost Gina Lollobrigida, who was, again, another one of those.
The European bombshell.
Yeah.
Raquel Welch was at 1 million BC. Mother Jugs and Speed with Harvey Keitel and Bill Cosby.
Yep. Beautiful, beautiful woman. Gorgeous. Nothing wrong. Sorry, cancel culture. Sorry, PC Nation. Nothing wrong with just being a beautiful, gorgeous, legendary woman like Raquel Welch. Doing a 180. Richard Belzer.
John Munch. No matter what show he was in, he played the character Detective John Munch.
Yep. Of course, most well known for
right now SVU.
Right.
But started out as a stand-up comic and then parlayed that into numerous police shows.
Wrestling. Father of Hall of Famer Jeff Jarrett. A legend in his own right. Jerry Jarrett passed away here recently. Those of you who remember the very, very popular, very, very critically acclaimed show, Hill Street Blues, the wife of the police chief, the captain.
Yep, played by Daniel J. Travante.
Yep. Barbara Basson passed away here recently. So that'll do it. That's what I've got for moments of silence. Just makes you feel old. All these people that we grew up with that we watched on TV every week.
Growing up, getting scary.
Yep. Maybe one day they'll talk about Sports Frenzy like that.
We can only hope.
There'll be some youngster doing a podcast 30 years from now. The conquistador Dave Height passed away.
Oh,
the maestro. with his tombstone engraved with the Van Halen insignia.
Yep. They'll be doing the Conquistador and Maestro dumbass of the week.
Yes. Handing it down from Red Foreman. Which is fitting because that's where we go next. The Red Foreman dumbasses of the week. But again, because we've got so many, we love to turn things around a little bit and make it a game show.
We do. Let's see if there's redemption.
And of course, the Conquistador is our lone and only contestant. First and foremost, we start off with Stephen Stills. Yes, the hippy-dippy
Dipshit.
rock star, member of one of those bands that we hate, whether it's Crosby, Stills, and Nash or Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Not quite as bad as Eric Clapton, but
damn close.
What a role model this guy is, kids.
If you aspire to be a human turd.
When asked how he feels about going out on tour at his age. And of course, initially, it's a struggle. It's, I'm older. I can't get around as well as I used to. But the kicker is, in the end, he said, touring is just no longer fun if you can't take drugs. Yes.
And there's your hippy dippy putts.
Touring is no longer fun without drugs.
Then you weren't touring right if you needed drugs to get through it.
Then these are the types of performers that, the idiot hippies out there loved.
Yeah. These are your current professors who are screwing up your kids.
All right, now this one, I'm going to do better. I'm sure I'm going to end up doing better than I did on the sports edition because I know I've got the next two locked down. Penguin Books, their imprint Puffin. Very subtly decided to edit classic books from Roald Dahl, including Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, and James and the Giant Peach.
We have to go more politically correct with describing people.
Taking out words like fat and crazy.
This is so damn stupid. It's pathetic.
You guys can go out there and do the research. It would take too much time for us to read off the passages that have been changed in these books.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
This scares me. This honestly scares me because this is Fahrenheit 451.
You cannot touch somebody's works.
It's not right to edit the works. I don't like banning the works, but I'd rather have them banned than for them to alter them and then put them out in a different form with different words.
This is absolute crap.
And this shit all started with Disney and Song of the South, and we're getting just too far down this road. Dave, of course, works in this area, so he's probably got a much more forceful opinion one way or the other than I do. I just don't like it. You do not get to do this. You do not get to alter the words of an artist, a writer. You do not get to do this. We're not talking about like a movie.
No,
where you're taking out a curse word so you can air it on regular commercial TV.
Right. No, this is completely altering a story.
This is disgraceful and disgusting, and I am glad that I'm seeing a lot of pushback on this.
There's more pushback on this than a lot of other things. It just needs to go. Do not edit books. Do not ban books. God. People are smart enough to make their own decisions.
We would think, we would hope that we would be given the opportunity to make our decisions. Whether we want to read something, whether we don't want to, whether we want to watch something, whether we don't want to.
You have no right to tell me that my kids can't read something. I make the determination, not you.
And that's a big disconnect in our society right now, as we've got teachers out there who think that they're more important in kids' lives than their parents.
You got politicians trying to drive their own personal agendas.
And this
parent
is
groups who are going way too damn far.
School boards who are going way too damn far as well.
Yeah, this is absolutely pathetic. All in the name of parents' rights. You're taking away parents' rights.
Completely agree. All right. Dave and I grew up watching some of the greatest television cop shows of all time. We grew up watching Beretta.
Adam 12.
And one of those shows.
Mannix.
Oh, Mannix. So good. Hawaii Five-0, the original.
The original.
One of those shows was Starsky and Hutch,
which was bastardized as the movie by Stiller and Wilson.
Well, Fox is going to remedy this for you, Dave.
Oh, no.
Fox is developing a new Starsky and Hutch with 2 female leads.
Oh, come on! Stop it! All right, I want Cagney and Lacey coming back with 2 men.
I don't want that. But I don't want this either. Come on. Can we just stop it?
Stop messing everything up. God.
This is the thing that scares
if
me
you
the
want
most.
2 female characters, come up with an original damn movie. Don't take off a classic show. Be original.
There are enough. If you can't come up with new original characters because we know Hollywood is so stupid they can't. You've already had Rizzoli and Isles. We talked about Kay Scarpetta coming out. You have got female. Why do this? Why do this?
To piss people off.
This is just, this is worse than Tom Cruise playing Jack Reacher.
Yes, it is.
You have to admit that.
I will admit that.
This is low. This is almost bottom of the barrel low.
This is scraping the bottom of the barrel.
This is down there with Will Smith playing James West.
Yes. This is below that.
I think it could be.
With the exception of the damn robot spider.
You know me, and you know how much I love the Wild Wild West. I mean, the only thing that could be worse than this, you want me to put this out there?
Who's playing Lucky Bear?
Jesus. No, I just had a terrible, awful, scary vision. Crockett and Tubbs as women.
Oh, for the love of God.
I will officially be done at that point. I will officially be done. I will pack up a backpack. I will leave everything behind, and I will wander the world like Kung Fu. Not a female Kung Fu! A male Kung Fu like David Carradine. And wander the earth in search of peace, because this kind of stuff gives me no peace.
No, it's giving me an aneurysm.
All right, finally. So am I 3
You're
for 3?
3 for 3.
Okay. So I'm going to go 4 for 4 because we kind of alluded to this one on the sports edition. You guys have probably seen this, but this is just a special kind of Dumbass of the Week award. I know it's Teen Week on Wheel of Fortune. We're supposed to be a little bit more kind and gentle. But when you have got FRE blank H, tropical fruit, and you spin the wheel and you can solve it for a trip to the Caribbean, and you guess G. When you guess G, when there's only one letter left in FRE blank H, tropical fruit, and you guess G. Good Lord, what kind of education? What the hell are we teaching these kids? Freg, tropical fruit? And I know Pat Sajak tried to be nice, and he tried to justify it and say, sometimes we just freeze up in moments like this. But come on!
That was bad.
Come on!
That's bad. Bad. Sorry, you're a dumbass.
For those of you out there who still haven't figured out, fresh tropical fruit! Fresh! Trip to the Caribbean. Gone, done, out, lost.
Bye-bye.
All right, so I did much better on the weekend edition.
Yes, you did.
Than I did on the sports edition. I feel better now. I think we can wrap this up.
Tie a bow on it.
I can feel a little bit better about myself. We talked about the music reviews we're going to do next week. We are going to, in terms of movies, review Megan.
We're going to subject ourselves to a horror movie. We like horror movies. We've been bitterly disappointed for many years now, with the exception of the Black Phone.
Black Phone was very good. The Black Phone was very good. But yeah, it's one of those genres where you keep getting sucked in. Number one, because the movies aren't that long. They're usually an hour and a half to an hour and 40 minutes. So you're not making like a 3-hour investment like Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So we're going to try Megan. It's coming on. As you guys are hearing this, it's already on Peacock. So please feel free to watch and play along with us at home.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I am not optimistic. After seeing Smile. I can't believe that movie made over $100 million.
It didn't even look good.
It was supposed to go directly to streaming, and they decided, well, at the last minute, let's just throw it out there.
That's how desperate people are to go to the theater.
Because there's no content. And now they're talking about a writer's strike. So there's going to be even less content. How many movies
do they haven't already done that they're holding on to for no reason?
See, that's the thing. You would think there's a backlog. There's not, because they're blaming COVID and all the protocols they still got in place in California that are slowing things down.
California, when are they going to fall off?
Burn up, fall off. Blizzard warnings in Los Angeles, I saw today. Blizzard warnings.
What, do we have another airplane dropping a load of cocaine?
I mean, it's amazing to me how the people in California think they're so much smarter than everybody else. Us here in flyover country, how we're just the dumb, simpleton idiots. And they know, but we'll pay our 50% taxes and we'll be happy.
We'll be living out of our cars, but we're okay because we're in California.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Rolling brownouts, fires.
Floods. No, not floods, mudslides.
And they still haven't found Julian Sands yet.
I know. Ugh.
Yeah, sorry, kids. That ain't turning out well.
No. Nope. They may not find him.
Yeah, that's true. On that cheery note,
Cheerio!
He's a conquistador, Dave Height.
He's the maestro, Kevin Crane.
Outside of our Julian Sands missing hiker update, we hope you enjoyed the weekend edition. Check out the sports edition every Thursday morning.
Yep. Leave a message on the Facebook page. Give us some recommendations.
Yeah, we'll always listen to you. We might not respond or agree, but we'll listen. Take care, kids. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.